Listen to this quote from Representative Wesley Hunt. I thought this was huge. He said, "What's funny about it to me is that you're mad at the guy who found the fraud, but not mad at the people who wasted your money. You're mad at the guy who found the fraud, but you're not mad at the ones who wasted your money." Think about that for a second. It's amazing that we're seeing Teslas getting destroyed. We see Democratic leaders like Tim Walz talking about how he wants to see a Tesla fall. Now, remember, Tesla has got thousands upon thousands, almost 100,000 people in America that work for them. American-made car. No matter if you like electric cars or not, it is American business. And all his businesses are located in America. And you have Tim Walz and a lot of Democrats saying they wish that his businesses would fail. Well, that would mean a lot of American workers would be out of work. Jasmine Crockett came out and stated that she wants him taken down, quote unquote taken down. Liberal talk show hosts came out and said that he brought up the news on a live show about the Tesla takedown and the funders behind it and also the dangers it's causing for areas, and people were applauding. Isn't it amazing how they hate this guy so much for finding waste, fraud, and abuse? How can they hate someone so much that's done so much for America? Now, do I believe that Elon Musk is some darling of the right? No. But he has done a lot of good things for Americans, and it's amazing how they attack him. And not one left Democrat has said this is wrong about the dealerships. Not one left Democrat has applauded him for rescuing 2 Americans off the space shuttle. Not one Democrat has applauded him for actually making jobs happen. It's unbelievable to me. We're going to talk about all that. Now, one more thing we're going to talk about too is Justice Roberts in the Supreme Court. There's an alleged story that could show why he may not like Trump so much. We're going to talk about that alleged story, but also the fact how if we allow these judges to keep on ruling from the bench and setting law from the bench, then we've learned nothing from the last few years. Megyn Kelly came out and said, look, this law that Trump is using to get these people out of the country that shouldn't be here, she said, well, there's precedent to where the court cannot overrule it or cannot stand against it. Says really the Supreme Court and this judge has no bearing on this case. Trump gets a win here. And then lastly, tariffs are working. One of the biggest businesses in the world, NVIDIA, just guaranteed jobs here in America and a whopping amount of money that he wants to utilize here in America. All because Trump and the tariffs. We're going to talk about all these stories and a few more. A great video today of eye-opening things that we should all learn and know, but see how promises made, promises kept, and they're starting to happen. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the channel today. Thank you so very much for being here. We're humbled by your watching our content. We hope that you're enjoying it, and we hope that you're getting something out of it. Common sense and wisdom as we try to press forward in this crazy world that we live in. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about Elon Musk. We're going to go through story after story about how people are keying Teslas, flipping off Teslas, breaking windows of Teslas, doing fake videos of Teslas and how they're not legally doing what they're supposed to do. There's one big YouTuber that did that. And then on top of that, they're burning dealerships. There's 2 more burned last night. Now what are we doing? What are we doing? And here's the thing that upsets me the most. This guy just rescued 2 astronauts from the space station that not one other country could do, and no one in America. The companies like Boeing and NASA, who were supposed to be the ones to go get the guys that were only supposed to be there 8 days, ended up being there 8 to 9 months, they relied on Elon. He had the only technology to actually go get them and bring them back home. Not one Democrat has said, thank you for bringing Americans home. Not one Democrat has talked about the dangers of them burning down buildings, this Tesla takedown. The funding behind that, allegedly, is Soros. Why are we allowing this to take place? And why are we not speaking up against this? I said in the intro, a liberal talk show host, The Daily Show, does a live feed. And he was talking about this Tesla takedown, and they started applauding the fact of hurting an American business. Now, you cannot tell me Jasmine Crockett saying take Elon down. You cannot tell me that Tim Walz saying he hopes the businesses shut down and the stock goes to nothing, which employs 80,000 people in America. American jobs now. Now, you cannot tell me that if a Republican was doing the same thing, they would not be ostracized and kicked out of office. I mean, I'm serious. This is not about boycotting here. This is literally completely defaming this guy and his company. Now, love him or hate him, Elon's different. And I'll be honest with you, I don't trust him wholeheartedly. He made a comment to Ted Cruz the other day that in 10 years, 90% of people will not be driving. The cars will be autonomous. And most robots by 10 to 15 years could be doing the jobs of a lot of people and really basically for free. So that's not encouraging to me. But in this case, where a lot of these things are getting done and he's speaking up for freedom and he's actually helping find waste, fraud, and abuse, it's amazing. Just like Wesley Hunt said, it's amazing that people are mad at the guy who found the waste, fraud, and abuse. However, the ones who spent the money, the Congress who spent the money and allocated the money, the fact of all these federal bureaucrats that spent the money, all these billionaires that got it for the NGOs, the judges that allowed it to happen, no one's mad at them. Is that not crazy to you? It's like someone breaks into the bank, steals all your money out of the bank, but you sympathize with the bank robber because he needed to provide food for his house, but he stole $1 million of your money. And you say, well, it was the bank's fault. That banker's terrible. He shouldn't have had all my money in the bank. I shouldn't have put all my money in the bank. I blame myself. I feel sorry for the bank robber. That's almost the same precedent that we're setting here. Is that we're literally allowing the people that are stealing from us, the people that are setting policy to take our money, we give them a pass. But then we get mad at the one that's actually calling the shot and saying, look, these people are taking money from you. These people are taking your taxpayers' money. I love what Scott Bessent said the other day. He told Elon, he said, it seems like everybody's mad at you for taking their money. And he said, I'm not taking their money. He said, I'm trying to save the taxpayers their money. That is a huge statement. And I think if we would learn that, and you see how much the left hates this guy, even the rhinos hate this guy. You know why they hate this guy so much? It's because they're losing the money they've been stealing from you. Do you realize that? You're not taking their money. You're not taking their money. He's not taking their money. He's actually taking your money back from them that they stole from you. So again, let's go back to the bank robber. If we find the bank robber and get all our money back, then we get mad at the cops and the people that got our money back. And we're like, no, just give all the money back to the bank robber. He deserved it. He stole it. He worked hard for it. Even though we worked for it and put it in the bank and he stole it, he deserves all the money. Now that wouldn't make sense to you, would it? That's exactly what these Democrats and leftists and rhinos are doing. Now, is that not crazy to think about? Can you imagine a leftist like Target, Starbucks, let's name Dick's, all these different leftist grocers or leftist movie stars? What if all of a sudden everything they owned and everything they touched started getting destroyed? All their stores started getting destroyed. And all conservatives and Republicans stood up and said, I'm glad they're getting destroyed. And all of a sudden the podcast had a live audience and everybody's clapping because all this stuff's getting destroyed. People would be up in arms. It's amazing how we're allowing this to take place. We're allowing destruction of property. Almost reminds me of 2020. We're allowing destruction of property all because the guy's a conservative. And to be honest with you, he's not even a conservative. He's actually a liberal. He's just not a leftist. And he doesn't take this ideology of communism worthwhile. He's actually wanting freedom. So it's amazing that we're not looking at this and saying, okay, why is the Democrat? It's not the fact that these leftists and these bad people and Soros and all that, they're funding all this, and all of a sudden they're burning all these dealerships down. Of course, they should be arrested. The sad thing is that our leadership on the left is almost promoting it. Go back to the comments that they've mentioned. Tim Walz, Jasmine Crockett, even down to Schumer, and not one of them congratulated the astronauts. Not one of them said that they shouldn't be burning down these dealerships. Not one of them has congratulated Elon for finding waste, fraud, and abuse. Isn't it amazing? Now, before we go any further, a word from today's sponsor. I don't know your situation, but like thousands of other Americans that American Financing talks to each and every month, People are drowning in debt. They're struggling to pay and keep up, living paycheck to paycheck. And also now we see that credit cards are at the highest use any time in history. Well, guess what? That's high interest. Even sometimes upwards of 20%. Life is more expensive, and that's caused by a lot of different things. But here's one way that you can look at helping yourself. And that's where American financing comes in. You may be ignoring your biggest asset, which is your home. Would you like to trade just 10 minutes of your day for maybe a savings of $800 a month? Because on average, that's exactly what most people are saving when they use American financing. A simple, no obligation call with one of the American financing specialists. They don't make money off of you selling you. They just want to help you, assist you to get your feet back under you again. When you talk to one of their consultants, there's no upfront fees, but there's something that they can do, and they can help get some of your high interest credit card debts under control. Do not wait. Call American Financing today. That number is 866-885-1948. That's 866-885-1948. Or go to my personal link, americanfinancing.net/themax. Do not miss this opportunity to make one call or to sign up for just a consultation and maybe save $800 a month on average. I want you on the path of making sure that you're prepared and that you are independent and financially safe. Well, American Financing can help you do that. Check out the link below, call their number, speak to one of their representatives, and see what they can do for you. Now let's talk about two big things that just happened yesterday. President of Congo has officially sought assistance from President Trump to bring peace for the region. Now, remember, South Africa, we pulled funds back because of all the issues. We see that there's like almost a civil war in the Congo. We see there's outbreaks in the Congo. We see that South Africa is literally falling to pieces. And parts of Africa is falling to pieces, of course, because of bad leadership. Now, listen to what the president of Congo just said. This is unbelievable. It says, in his offering, he said, please help us fix our problems in the Congo. In trade-off, by doing that, we give you our access to all minerals in our area. So if we come in there and help promote peace in the Congo, he wants to give us the minerals, the rare earth minerals that Trump has been wanting. Now, here's the thing. You know what it's worth? You know what the Congo minerals are worth? And a lot of times they were not tapped and not done right because of bad leadership in these third world countries. But just think if America could tap this. Listen to this. It says that the mineral resources in Congo, in this part of Africa, could be worth $20 trillion. That's a T, trillion. Do you realize what that would do? Say it takes $10 trillion of infrastructure to get that out of the ground, and it's worth $20 trillion. We've made $10 trillion. Now, they said it's not going to take trillions of dollars like that to get it out of the ground. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is, by Trump playing hardball with the fact of South Africa and some of these African countries that were taking our money and actually not being thankful for it, he froze it. Because he froze it, more turmoils happened. Now they're saying, oh my gosh, you've got leverage. Please come help us, and we will give you access to $20 trillion worth of rare earth minerals. What a game changer. Now, let's bring up another story that's maybe even just as big, if not bigger, than that one. The Trump effect is what it's called. Mario Nafal shared this with NVIDIA to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on U.S. manufacturing. NVIDIA's worth is $2.9 trillion of an empire of business because of tech, because of semiconductors and super chips. Even though all this stuff kind of scares us because we're going into a future that is really unknown, NVIDIA's chips are literally in everything. Listen to this. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang just confirmed the company will pour several $100 billion in U.S., not distribution, listen to this, manufacturing over the next 4 years. He didn't say 10-year plan, 15-year plan, 20-year plan, which goes over 45 different presidents. You know how that works. Everybody promises all this stuff but then really backs out on it because they plan this stuff like the budget to Congress. Well, we're going to change everything in 10 years. 10 years comes and there's been 2 more presidents. It's that kind of thing. But listen to this. NVIDIA wants to invest hundreds of billions, several hundreds of billions of dollars in U.S. manufacturing within Trump's term. Why? Trump's America First policies are forcing tech giants to ditch China and build supply chain issues and supply chain manufacturing here in the U.S. I said a few months ago, I said, why in the world have we not developed better technologies in semiconductors and super chips, and we're allowing China just to have it and the Asian Pacific to have it. Now, Trump's not listening to me, but he must be thinking on the same wavelength, because he just said, we're bringing it here. We're patriotizing and bringing the fact that America can be the stronghold when it comes to semiconductors and supercomputers and chips that go in literally everything. Think of the tariffs that we just put on China. That would hurt NVIDIA because of what they were doing. Now they're all of a sudden onshoring several $100 billion worth of manufacturing and jobs and tech that we all need and the world needs. What does that mean? That means not only are we going to benefit because of manufacturing, we're now going to benefit because we can export some of these things. America has lost its value in manufacturing and exporting. We've become an importer. That's not what America was about. America is so strong and has so much resource. Why don't we learn to tap the resources we have, influence companies to come here, then learn how to export, and then we could become the juggernaut that we once were. That's why our currency is still number one, because of those things. What we don't want to see is it to fall out. So all these things, like the onshoring of all these manufacturing jobs, the fact that Congo is now saying, take my $20 trillion worth of rare earth minerals because we need your help to stabilize this area. It's not about policing the world or going to war. What it's about is Trump said, I'm going to freeze assets. I'm going to stop giving money to all these places until they come and beg at our feet. And that's exactly what is happening. You may not like that, but everybody's been taking advantage of your money, including, like we talked about with Wesley Hunt, saying you're mad at the guy who talked about the fraud instead of the people that's actually stealing from you. Congo and places that were taking our money, our hard-earned taxpayer dollars, were not doing anything for us. So now when we stop it for a second, everybody comes and says, oh my gosh, we need your help, we need your money. Okay, then what is it going to cost you? That's called leverage. That is how you run business. Trump is literally running this country like a business should be running. Now NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, one of the richest billionaires with the richest companies in the world, is now saying America will be home for him. Now let's talk about these judges again. I've been honing on them because there's a story that's alleged, but this came out. We're going to talk about that. But first, let's talk about what Senator Hawley said. I love the fact that you're starting to see some senator and congressmen actually put some pressure, saying that we need to take this into consideration of voting and impeaching these people. Listen to this. Senator Hawley says, strip federal judges of nationwide injunction power. The majority senator says pushing Congress to strip the nationwide jurisdiction. And that makes sense. Why do we have district judges who are in a district able to rule on national-wide or international-wide powers or thought patterns of what they believe or not believe? Trump has a thought of 77 million, because that's what he was voted for, does the power, and the judge who has no jurisdiction of this area, it just all of a sudden doesn't like it, so they're like, well, we'll just put an injunction against him. Makes no sense. That makes no sense. Go back to yesterday's video with Thomas Jefferson saying we're allowing our judiciary to mold wax, heated wax, to make it whatever they want to make it, and that is wrong. It says federal judges have repeatedly used these rulings to block Trump's policies, including efforts for birthright citizenship and freeze foreign aid. The Justice Department has appealed to the Supreme Court, arguing that one judge shouldn't have the power to halt the president of a nationwide policy. A district judge who has no jurisdiction to rule on anything out of his district when it comes to courts coming before him and things coming before him. It's regional judges can make international or national injunctions against the president who was voted on by 77 million people. It is absolutely lunacy and really truly foolish on our nation if we deal with this. Now I want you to listen to what he said now. He said the Justice Department has appealed to the Supreme Court. Now why is that a big deal, Colby? I mean, why should we be worried about the Supreme Court? Well, we see that Amy Coney Barrett cannot be trusted as the quote-unquote conservative. We know there's already 3 to 4 that's going to vote against Trump. A lot of times the deciding vote's always Roberts. He tends to lean a little bit more on the liberal side. We really honestly think he hates Trump. And he made a comment about, Trump made a comment the other day about he wanted to look at ways to impeach or ignore the law. Now, Megyn Kelly said we can ignore, and Trump can ignore the law because there's precedent set before it. And if you go watch her show or she's got viral hits now on this, but what it was saying, there's already precedent set where the Supreme Court and the lower courts cannot step in and overregulate this or change what this Enemies Act says. It's already got precedent to where they can't overrule on it, and it is Trump's to basically state and make happen with his emergency powers. So all of a sudden, they can't really rule on it, is what Megyn Kelly, as a lawyer, is saying. Now, here's the thing. Justice Roberts has come out and said, no, you can't just ignore the courts. You can't impeach these judges. Now, he's speaking, and he shouldn't be speaking. This is not his jurisdiction to be speaking. He is the Supreme Court Justice, and actually the leader of the whole Supreme Court. And for him to make comments like this is absolutely foolish too. So it shows he already doesn't like Trump. There's a story, and again, go and do your own research, because I'm not just to tell you, because I want you to just dive in a little deeper. There's a story allegedly done that he had some inconspicuous things that were tied to his family that dealt with the Obama administration. Now, it's alleged, but what they were saying was some of the papers of adoption, some of the other things that he was doing was not on the up and up. Is that true? I don't know. I will say this, and I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I don't believe any judge can be impartial. And what I mean by that is this. We're all humans. We all have thought patterns. That's why you have quote-unquote conservative and liberal judges. We know that. And the thing is, they're always going to vote their party. No matter if you don't call them a party affiliate, they're a party affiliate. That's why I honestly believe you shouldn't have lifetime appointments for judges. I honestly believe they should not have the power to rule over a president, no matter if they're conservative or liberal, and the president is conservative liberal. That makes no sense. Again, going back to Thomas Jefferson, if we allow the judiciary to mold the law and interpret the law the way they want, each judge, then therefore there is no set of laws because we interpret it differently because we're humans. So the law of the land could be just misconstrued because one judge doesn't like the will of the president of 77 million. So that's not good. But we already see how Judge Roberts is going to vote. He's almost going to vote against Trump based on his conversations he had. So that means Trump's only hope is Amy Coney Barrett. Well, to me, that's not a good hope. I actually do not like the fact that we have our AG that's wanting to push this to the Supreme Court. Here's what I'd like to see. And this is just me. I'm just speaking personally. As a uneducated Mississippi guy. I'm not a lawyer by any means. But my personal opinion is this. Trump ignores the laws. He ignores the injunctions by these courts. Now, I'm not saying ignores all laws. I'm saying ignores the laws of these kind of injunctions from a district court that is trying to take away his right as a president on international affairs or nationwide affairs that's not even their jurisdiction. You want to bring a legitimate court case against him? Fine, do it. If you want to do that against anybody, fine, do it. But in this case, you're basically saying a judge, a district judge appointed by a liberal, who is a liberal, is saying that my opinion on this matter of law supersedes the president of 77 million and I can tie him up. That's not checks and balances. That's judiciary having too much power. So I think the president needs to ignore them and say, what are you going to do with these injunctions? Are you going to arrest me? And then, like Senator Hawley said, and like some of the other conservatives in the court system, in the Congress, are saying, we need to impeach these people, or at least threaten the situation, or impeach at least once to make a poster child for the situation that we don't allow this to happen. We can't take every liberal judge and impeach them. I'm not saying that. I think that's probably impossible. But these people that knowingly could be corrupt, knowingly has ties to their children and grandchildren, to all these different NGOs. It's amazing how Judge Mershon and this Judge Barbosa or Barbosi or whatever his name is, both of them have children that's tied to somehow the Democratic platform and's made millions of dollars off taxpayer-funded money with NGOs and nonprofits. That doesn't make sense, does it? Do you think they're actually going to vote for Trump? No. But you learn to say, okay, we're going to make a specimen of you. You're not going to rule and try to overrule 77 million people just because you don't like the law. So we're going to impeach you, or we're at least going to dive in a little deeper to you. I think what it would do, all these lifetime appointed judges that have some back play and some back money and maybe some hidden secrets even in the Supreme Court, like we talked about, I think you're going to start seeing people either play with the up and up, or they're going to risk their information being found out. So I think you'd start seeing judges not be as activist as they are with Trump. 92% of injunctions in this century, since 2000, 92% of the injunctions against a president by a judge has been made by a liberal judge against Trump. Not Bush, not Obama, not Biden, Trump. Trump has had 92% of his injunctions done by the court system, by liberal judges, against him and him only. That means he may be doing something right. It's kind of like the Elon stuff. The reason they're hating him so much and going after him and targeting him and his businesses is because maybe he's actually putting his finger on the sore spot, their money. Wait. Did you hear what I said? It's not their money. It's our money that they're taking. Remember the bank robber cliche? We're allowing the bank robber to rob the bank, and we want to feel bad for him, so we're like, hey, go and rob our money. We worked hard for it, you take it. Doesn't make sense, does it? So when we hear about all this going on, we pay attention. I don't know if going to the Supreme Court is the right thing. I know that that's what they want, quote unquote want, but honestly what I would rather see is it get ignored, go before Congress, and they start impeaching or digging into these judges a little bit more. And I think once you start seeing some light in their families or in their past or in their bank accounts, you may actually start seeing why they want to put these injunctions against Trump. Pay attention to these stories. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Go check out the sponsor of today's video. It allows us to be able to do the things that we do when we want to share this information, and we appreciate you so very much. We humbly thank you for watching, and please share our videos and subscribe to the channel. God bless.